It is true that as a writer I can be a veritable pain in the ass. Not only do I unearth the family skeletons, but I polish them up real nice for the neighbors to see. I was born and raised in the Conch Republic, and for those of you who don't know, that's Key West. I was sent off to boarding school at a relatively young age, but I have a very good memory of my years on the island. And I published my first poem in one of the mullet wrappers down there, which is what we call the newspaper. It's all it was good for, wrapping fish. They had volleyball scores and stories about fish that fishermen couldn't produce. Huge fish that didn't exist sometimes because they go out drinking and they just wanted to cover up so their wives wouldn't know. But this man came to my house one day and he was talking to my father, and my next door neighbor said, "You've got strange company." And I walked in and there was this older man with a big straw hat on, and he said, "Oh, Mr. Lundberg, I sure would like little Mr. Fishbait to come to my house and recite some of his poetry for my friends." Well, that man turned out to be Tennessee Williams. And I think I was about 7 years old, maybe 8. And, I was totally lost on how important this was. And they put me up on the mahogany table barefoot in shorts that were falling off of me. And, a French sailor shirt with bait stains on it. And I'm sure a couple of his friends got off on this little boy with a brass set. And I remember reciting my poetry, and one of William's friends said something like, "Oh, isn't he an adorable little bit of island trash?" And I turned around and I said, "I may be island trash, but my great uncle can buy and sell your ass." And of course they all laughed and thought that this was delightful. And I got to sit at the big table. I kept my writing quiet. It was something that I really, it was something that was for my friends and family, and I didn't like the structure in schools and of the writing programs that they had. Composition I always did well in, if I free flowed. But things with structure, and when I got into 11th grade, this teacher of mine, Henry Willett, he's a very strict teacher. He is largely responsible for the vocabulary I have. He and my second father, Richard, who passed away this past October, worked on building it. Henry Willett had assigned one book, and we had to memorize 20 words a week, use them in sentences, give definitions and all of that. And Richard doubled that by buying the next semester's books and having me do 2 at once. And so I built a phenomenal vocabulary, but I just couldn't write in a structured way, so he failed me. There's a big fat F in my 11th grade year where it says writing, which astonishes people. For a while I had it framed. And I do talk about Henry from time to time on stage. But, my teachers were my family at St. Andrews in Barrington, Rhode Island. The only other prominent person that I know of, there are 2, Raul Correa, who's an author, and Andrew Robinson, who played Quark the Tailor in Star Trek, and he was in Hellraiser. I think it was Larry Cotton or something like that, and Scorpio Killer in Dirty Harry. We had a lot of interesting people at this school. But anyway, writing has been a great comfort to me. And the other day when I was doing this thing on poetry, somebody said to me, "Yeah, but that's kind of girly." And I went, "Oh, okay, if you think so. But writing is not." So you can't say anything about that. So, I suggest to people, especially with the dark times that we have, you pick up a pen. Write a letter, you know. Write your thoughts down in a diary. Maybe try to compose some kind of silly story. Write your congressman a scather. Write a fan letter to a star or somebody who means something to you. Just take a minute, even if it's just a paragraph, and write. I think that you'll find as this talent builds, you'll get more into it. And it's a nice healthy way to stop during your day for about 5 or 10 minutes and, just collect your thoughts on a piece of paper. You can burn it if you're in the CIA or if you're one of those scoundrel Republicans that skulks around, or one of those diabolical evangelical Christians that's plotting to turn this country into a theocracy. But all kidding aside, or seriousness, depending on how you look at it, writing is a good way to pull yourself out of the pain and despair of struggle. This is Hugh Slenberg. I am a writer, a poet, performance artist, among many other things. I am also the Fairy King. Have a wonderful life, and thank you for listening.